when you spend years attacking your own members, ignoring the democratic decision on Brexit, selling your soul to corporate capitalism, and undermining the leader of the party who secured the biggest increase in vote share the Labour Party's seen since 1945, you inevitably end up with the electoral meltdown that we saw last night.
Well, some are blaming Jeremy Corbyn, intriguingly enough. Voters didn't want him, and they don't think the party is that much different without him, apparently.
It's absurd. It's an absurd... I mean, I know they're looking for excuses, but to blame Jeremy Corbyn now, after Keir Starmer's been in for well over a year, after, as I've already said, they spent the time undermining him, sabotaging him. We saw that from the leaked report that was produced last year, which demonstrated that very senior officials in the party were working overtime to stop a Labour government coming to power under Jeremy Corbyn. They can't blame Jeremy. It's an absurdity. I mean, one only has to look at the level of popularity that Jeremy enjoyed in terms of the people who turned out to see him in their thousands at meetings all over the country. And you compare that to the Sir Keir Starmer. I mean, he's lucky to get a handful of people who are interested in what he has to say. So, no, that really doesn't stand up to examination at all. Jeremy had a progressive proposition that gave hope to people. And what we're seeing now, as I've already said, again, is a party that is enthralled to corporate capitalism. That's what is the problem. People want an alternative. Politics, democracy, should be about giving people choice. There is no choice in this country now with the mainstream political parties. They're two sides of the same coin.
The problem is, though, Jeremy Corbyn lost, and it also... Keir Starmer seems to be going backwards, isn't he? I mean, he's not capitalising on some of the current political situations after all the sleaze and cronyism accusations, for instance, engulfing Boris Johnson.
Well, absolutely. I mean, look, when Jeremy was a leader and they were doing their level best, the vast majority of the Parliamentary Labour Party and bureaucrats, as I've already said, to undermine him, they were saying, look, any other leader, and Labour would be 20 points ahead. They've got their leader, they've got their man, and they're languishing in an even worse situation than they were in under Jeremy Corbyn. And the reason why Jeremy didn't do as well as I think many people hoped was that he gave ground to these people. He sought to placate them, sought to ameliorate their anger that was directed against him.
But Chris, let's look at it this way. You're talking about something that happened, as you said, it was 18 months ago now. The council elections are bad, though, aren't they? And that's a local rejection of the recent candidates, isn't it? It's unheard of for a sitting government to win a by-election and all these extra council seats. So that's a current issue, isn't it? Not about Jeremy Corbyn.
It is a current issue, absolutely. I mean, as I've said, the policy agenda that they have now embraced is the sort of thing that they were urging on Jeremy Corbyn. I mean, this notion of a second referendum, they installed in Hartlepool a Remainer as the parliamentary candidate. I mean, this was a slap in the face. I mean, people voted to leave the European Union. Whenever you think about that, that was a democratic decision. And in Hartlepool, I think it was 70% of the electorate. I think it was the biggest vote in England in favour of leaving the European Union. Yet they put in somebody who actually has a diametrically opposite view to that. So, no, I mean, it just doesn't stand up to any examination at all. This is an absolute failure on the part of Sir Keir Starmer and the current Labour Party. They're offering no hope. They're offering no alternative to the British people. And we have a government which is guilty of social murder. Let's remember that. I mean, well over 100,000 people have needlessly died in this country because of their mishandling of the COVID...
Chris, if I could just ask you briefly before we go, is Keir Starmer to stay or go? And what is it that the Labour Party wants and needs to do now? Very briefly, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's likely to stay. I think he should go. The difficulty is, though, who are they going to replace him with? I don't see anybody, unless they bring back Jeremy Corbyn, that could actually command the support that's needed to actually, repair the damage that the Labour Party has done. Frankly, I think the Labour Party is a spent force now, and we need, frankly, those of us who believe in a progressive future to look, and the trade union movement particularly, they're paying for a party which is no longer the voice of the organised working class. We need to look at creating an alternative, because I'm afraid the Labour Party, I think, is a dead duck and has no future.